Chapter 5. Redefining Poverty. Poverty is not a respecter of person, age, color, title, race, place, or religion. Years ago in the United States, a professor at Johns Hopkins gave a group of graduate students this assignment. Go to the slums. Take 200 boys between the ages of 12 and 16 and investigate their background and environment, then predict their chances for the future. The students, after consulting social statistics, talking to the boys, and compiling much data, concluded that 90% of the boys would spend time in jail. 25 years later, another group of graduate students was given the job of testing the prediction. They went back to the same area. Some of the boys, by then men, were still there. A few had died, some had moved away, but they got in touch with 180 of the original 200. They found that only 4 of them had ever been sent to jail. Why was it that these men, who had lived in a breeding place of crime, had such a surprisingly good record? The researchers were continually told, well, there was a teacher. They pressed further and found that in 75% of the cases, it was the same woman. The researchers went to this teacher, now living in a home for retired teachers. How had she exerted this remarkable influence over that group of children? Could she give them any reason why these boys should have remembered her? No, she said. No, I really couldn't. And then, thinking back over the years, she said musingly, more to herself than to her questioners, I loved those boys. Love, above all else, is the reason why I do most of the things I do, and I care so much about seeing readers of this book experience transformation. What you see is what you get. What you don't see gets you. Nothing is as amusing as seeing a poor person deny his state of poverty by declaring, I am not poor. A lot of people tend to define poverty and wealth in terms of money alone and lose sight of the bigger picture like we have been exploring. Are you a millionaire? After the previous chapter, you now have a better answer. Are you poor? This chapter should help clear that out and give you an answer. Like the boys in the story I just shared, you don't have to fulfill any negative predictions, because this book will help you become more than you presently are. There are 5 definitions of poverty as revealed in my previous book, Pathway to Wealth, but due to space constraint, I will only give you 3 definitions here. 1. Poverty is the opposite of prosperity, riches, and wealth. Poor. When a man is not prosperous, rich, or wealthy, he is said to be poor. The different dimensions of true wealth we examined in the preceding chapter help give clarity, because one may not have all the dimensions of true wealth in place, but as long as you have one in place, like your health, the process has begun. To have the opposite of prosperity, riches, and wealth is to be poor. But that cannot be the end of the story, because as long as you are alive and reading this book, your story will change. Your present state is not your final status. 2. Poverty is a state of lack and hardship. The United Nations define living below $2 a day as poverty and living below $1 a day as extreme poverty. And billions of people in today's world live below $1 a day. If you find yourself in that group or live in a state of lack and hardship where the basic needs of life is absent and you struggle, that is poverty. When you borrow to survive, live from hand to mouth, struggle to live a meaningful life, etc., things have to change, and this book can be your way out if you learn and act. 3. Poverty is a mindset, a mentality, a paradigm. This no doubt is the real poverty that produces the poverty we see in today's world. The internal state produces the external reality. Poverty mentality is one of the most dangerous aspects of poverty because it is the reason why many are not wealthy, give excuses for their irresponsibility, consume all they get without any saving, think quantity above quality, think compensation instead of value creation, think salary instead of income streams, and choose instant gratification above delayed gratification, etc. Poverty has no respect for age, status, color, qualification, title, location, etc. I have seen poor people all over the world in different continents, and no one should settle for less than they desire. Defining poverty in monetary terms alone is not adequate because I have seen people with money who still have poverty mentality or other forms of poverty like relational poverty. Dimensions of poverty. 1. Financial poverty. This is the general known dimension of poverty because it has to do with lack of money. 2. Mental poverty. This is the poverty of ideas. When you have money without ideas, you may end up losing the money. This dimension is the barrenness of the mind and brain, and it is a terrible poverty to have. 3. Social poverty. To have money and no one to enjoy it with can be very frustrating. A life that is barren or poor of good relationship is a frustrating life. Do you really have true friends? Social poverty is relational poverty. 4. Physical poverty. Health is wealth, and poor health is no doubt a dimension of poverty, and a terrible one at that. What is the benefit of money that you cannot enjoy due to poor health? 5. Non-achievement. This is also a dimension of poverty, which summarizes a life of existence without substance or impact. No meaningful progress, success, or achievement. He was born, he lived, and he died. That should not be the summary of your life. 6. Knowledge poverty. To lack the knowledge, skill, information needed for progress in life is poverty, because ignorance is darkness, and if you are not informed, you will be deformed and stay at the bottom in life. 7. Spiritual poverty. This is for me the worst kind of poverty that no one should ever allow. It is the poverty of the soul and the spirit. After all is said and done, there is life after death, and money or material possessions are only tools on this part of eternity and meaningless in the afterlife. Are you poor? You know better now. Many people are poor and remain poor because they don't know why they are poor. When people don't know what fueled or caused their poverty, they continue in ignorance and still remain in poverty. If you keep doing things the way you have been doing it, you will continue to get the result you have been getting. Let us move on to examine the universal causes of poverty so you can find the way out.